Good morning. It is Sunday morning. It is just after 10:30 a.m. and that means it is time for Sunday Club, a weekly Ruby on Rails live stream where each week we write some Rails code and we build an app together. And the app that we are working on is an event registration application. And we're hoping to get to the point where it is focused on group registering for events like team events or anything like that. And that is, sorry, I have got a slightly sore throat. Oh, well, excuse me. Sorry, I just had to mute my microphone. For those who watched last week's stream video and saw that I was not hugely well, I had tested negative for COVID that day, but sadly did test positive for COVID later that day. So I did have COVID and have had COVID all week. So I have been in self-isolation, which is incredibly boring. And even within my own house, we are trying to keep my partner free from COVID. She's got a flight in a week, so she's trying not to catch COVID. And yeah, it has been an interesting week trying to split the house in two and not infect the other person. I've been fine. Last week on the stream was probably the sickest I've been, the illest I've been, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And you know, go get vaccinated and do all of that good stuff, so that if you do catch COVID, then you're not affected too badly. But the self-isolation thing is no fun. That is no fun at all. So I'm just I'm gonna go and pick that drink up in a while. I've had to have my food like delivered to me up the stairs. By very grateful to my partner for sorting my food out. Really appreciate it, because we can't both be in the kitchen at the same time. Really appreciate it. All right, so that's a health update. Still testing positive, so God knows how long I'll be trapped up here. But it means more time for streaming, right? All right, follow up. Not necessarily follow up, but a little bit of news, stream news. Yesterday, while kind of being in isolation from COVID, I was watching other streamers on Twitch, Rails streamers specifically, and came across Sam, who I'm just going to find. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just going to find Sam's Twitter account on my other screen and bring it up onto the screen. Let's go. Where is he? Oh, here we go. Great. So this is Sam. Let's put this up on the screen here. So this is Sam, and he has been live streaming daily Rails streams for over a year now. And if you get a chance, let me just blow this up. He is at Sam. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Neta, Neter. So it's at SAMNETER. So I paired with Sam yesterday offline just to try and help out with a couple of issues he'd been having on the stream. So hopefully that was useful. But what I've said was, do you want to come kind of pair on something on his application and move something forward? So we're going to sort out a time and a date for that. I will tweet about it. And he streams, just a heads up. I don't know if you're wherever you are in the world, time zone wise, but he streams at 5 a.m., 5 to 6 a.m. UK time, pretty much daily by the looks of things. If you take a look through his Twitter feed, you'll see when he's streaming. So this is this morning, and this is at 5:19 a.m. Yeah, UK time. And let's check the next one down. He's really consistent. This one's 6:48 a.m. Okay, so a little bit more reasonable, but still before 7 a.m. Sam's going to hopefully come. We're going to do some Rails live coding pairing streaming. And I have reached out to the people at tuple.app to see if they will hook us up for that. So I'm mentioning it on here in case they are looking at this to see if we're trying to get some promo. So We'll see if we can kind of get a little mini sponsorship from Tuple so that we can have some free pair programming apps. All right, so that's not follow up necessarily, but that's like stuff coming in the future, which I'm really excited about. I think it would be great to see more pair Rails live streaming. I think there's quite a lot on YouTube comparatively, but it'd be good to get some more regular stuff happening on Twitch, which is where Sam streams. Mine's on both, but Sam streams over there. All right, let's jump to follow up then. And we're going to pick up straight where we left off, I think. So we were looking at user accounts, and we're going to dive straight in. Someone commented in the chat last week, and I did agree with them, which is we want to have like a place for people to pick up context on the app, even if they haven't watched a previous stream and they're just jumping straight in. I am aware of that, and I am going to work on that at some point. It's not a huge priority right now, but like having something in the YouTube video descriptions or like the Twitch video descriptions would be helpful, or something that they can link to and go and read, that we can just maybe we could even put it at the bottom of the stream or something. It's like, hey, new to the stream, kind of, you can catch up here, and give them a URL or something. I get it. Like I want to do that, but I'm not going to dedicate a huge amount of time to that right now, but it's something that's on my list. And I did see that Bridgetown RB went 1.0 recently, so maybe that could be like a good way to do that. And this is a site generator, a Ruby site generator, which I have used and had a really good experience with. So maybe we could do something where we build a little site there. For anyone who's watched these previously, we actually did work on an application that built websites for stream channels. So genuinely finishing that application would have been the website I was looking for, but we didn't do that. I just kind of we designed it out. So if anyone wants to build it, I think, and there's companies making money doing that. Like, it's a real job. But I think maybe like a static site might be just a bit easier. And we could just make it open source, and then if people want to put in notes or anything, but some people put comments in the YouTube channel, I guess, once in a while. Yeah, whatever. All right, let's dive in and get into it. User account areas, user account stuff. So we have a system test here for creating and managing a user account. So the user could, I'm refreshing my memory with this, by the way. This is me remembering as well as everybody else. So when I visit the sign up page, and so this is for creating a new account. When I visit the sign up page and I complete the sign up form, then I should see the homepage. Okay, so that's just, you can go there, you can create an account. This presumably should have some sort of confirmation message. We should do something here. Okay, fine. So this is testing the current behavior, but the current behavior is probably not the ideal behavior, but that's okay. As a registered visitor, yeah, I think I've mentioned this several times, but like, you usually want this kind of nomenclature to be consistent, this wording. So as an unregistered visitor, and as a registered visitor. So I mean, that would probably be more like registered user. Sometimes it can be useful to differentiate between the two, maybe. Like, a visitor is someone who hasn't signed up, a user is someone who has an account, maybe, or all users. What's the difference between a visitor and a user? Do you use the same words all the time? Consistency of language is really helpful there. So as an unregistered user, as a user without an account, like, and you can put like some docs together for your engineers to have consistency there. As a registered user, we are not doing that. I haven't done that. As a registered user, changing my email address. As a user, when I sign in and I visit the change email page and I complete the new email address form, then I should receive a reconfirmation email. When I visit the reconfirmation page, okay, which is the confirmation page, but which is the confirmation page. That could maybe be when I visit the confirmation page with my reconfirmation token or something like that. Then my email address should be updated and I should see the homepage. Again, probably not an ideal state to test here. We probably want like did a confirmation message get shown? Like, why did you go back to the homepage? Like, this is pretty like not a great user experience. And then these are the tests that build that experience. Okay, this is all sort of fine. Like, we get the gist of why I've done a bunch of that stuff. It's not ideal, but we can put that in. So in our changes from last week, we've got the user email address controller. So that's just where the actual functionality change is happening. This one can go because that is not something we need. We then had users /123 or users /ID /email address as a singular. And okay. What's this? Oh, great. So this is the test. Okay, so this test is unfinished. So we've only got the edit action here. So that's probably where we need to round off before we do. I wonder if that's why we didn't commit here. I think we ran really long. I think I had a good time last week just getting stuff done. And then this is all of the... Oh, okay, so we built on top of an existing test. That's cool. Okay, great. So let's finish this controller test then. Let's jump in and get so we can get all of this committed. Let's work out what we want to do. So we have a request spec, not a controller test. So we have a request spec, and we want to return a success response here. Right, and I would have mentioned once again that we don't have the default helpers to test for non-signed in behavior. So let's see if we have. Just going to try and load Notion because that's where we are keeping our sort of backlog and task list. Just load it. Yeah, great. Okay. Oh, it's literally the top of the list. Okay, so I've already done that. Add request spec helpers. Well, let's duplicate that and say we also want add. Oh no, we're already in the request. Yeah, no, that's already exactly what we wanted. We're already looking at that. Ignore me. Delete that one. Great. Okay, so we know that's on the list. We can probably let's build out the user account area, and then we can hopefully try and get to that one today, because I don't think we're going to do anything too taxing today. So let's just sort of get into it. So let's say this one is just as a signed in user as well. So we want a user. This is going to be the update action that we're doing. So this is going to be this, and then some sort of params hash, I would assume. And for now, that can be nil, like empty hash. And what do we actually want to happen? So as a sign-in user, right, so we're testing in the feature test that an email goes out. Potentially the request spec is not the place for that unless we were to explicitly check that method was being called. But that's a device thing. Okay, so because it's a device thing, I think that can sort of stay at that system test level. We don't want should in there either, so it can just be and say success response it. Stores the new email address and a confirmation token. Like, that's essentially what I think that is. We care about the output from the request spec, I think. So let's perform that action and then we'll see what happens. But we want to sign the user in, so we're kind of replicating this. We're not, as I mentioned, we're not testing what happens if the user isn't signed in yet, but we're going to come back and circle back to that. So in this one, we want to say, we actually expect the response to redirect to, and where are we sending them? So here. And we can even, you can just expect Flash. Can you just do that from a request spec? Empty? So that's sort of this one. So let's duplicate that. So this one could be redirects to the and then again we're going to perform the action and then is it like confirmation token? Yeah, don't know what the best one to do there. Empty, nil, something like that. And on here, there's a field called something like new email or something, unconfirmed email. Just want those to be populated. Oh, this one will presumably will have some params, so we can actually check that it's set from the one from the param, so we can do that. Okay, so let's try and get this passing to choose item, so we can get this around with it then, so we can do bundle. I think let's just run this whole spec to start with. Oh, whoops. Great, lots of failing tests. Okay, great. Those tests are failing because we haven't passed through our params. So we need, is it, yeah, it's just email address. Well, let's make it new. I think that's all it takes, right? Yep, email. Oh, it's just email. Great, and so this is just a string that we can. We need it twice, but we don't need to declare it twice, so we can just say that's email. And so in here we would expect to equal email. Just want that to be populated. All right, what does that do? I got a typo. Params. Oh, here, did I screw this up? Oh, this doesn't need these, I don't think. That's the end of that one. That's the end of that one. Great. Okay, that all passes. I do prefer the adage of don't trust a test you've never seen fail. But I'm assuming that testing the flash is just grabbing in like a pretty... It's a nil to respond to it. And check it has some of the wording in it. This should fail. Oh, I'm an idiot. Of course it's nil. I just said it to that was the failure I set. Yeah, I think we don't need to tie the wording to it. We're just trying to say there should be some sort of success. Because we could do that in the feature spec. Oh, it was too not empty. Right, okay, great. So I think that covers everything. So there's the controller, view, our routes with edit and update. A test there, which are missing the tests for checking that users without permission can't do those things. And our feature specs, which test a bunch of undesirable behavior, but at least it is the current behavior. So let's introduce update email. We could probably break this down into smaller commits if we wanted to. We could introduce the empty controller and the empty view with the root there and then split everything else up, but I'm not too fussed about that here. Introduce update email. This is an initial version of this behavior. Believe it or not, I told you at the start of the stream that I had COVID, but that cough is not, I don't think it's particularly rare because I haven't had a very strong cough. I think it's my coffee. Sorry. I think I choked on it a little earlier. The unformatted view and Note that devise is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. We're updating the email field. Oh, we're not. Let's say we're passing an email param, and devise is updating the, oh, what's it called? Unconfirmed email field, setting the confirmation token and sending the user an email. We're testing those things happen across the system and request specs. Yeah, so that was something I'm really unsure about. So where should we be testing that the email got sent from devise? So at the moment that is only happening in the system spec here. And we are doing that quickie look into Action Mailer base. And I said last week that there was like a gem I'd used in the past that was pretty helpful. Let's kind of have a Google around that because I think I'm really interested to know that. So like Rails test email system request. If there's any sort of basic guide for this. I think this is what I looked at last week. I'm just gonna oops, sorry, bear with me. Hang on. I'm just moving all my browser tabs around. Give me just a cool. So this is Capybara email. So that's obviously, there's an expectation there that we would be testing it at the system test level. Is there anything in the actual guides for testing? Mailer testing. So we're sort of using a gem for this. So maybe both. We just really, really want to catch if that stops working. So if devise were to like turn off that behavior by default and be like, oh, hey, by the way, you now need to specifically trigger an email. We're going to change the default to not sending an email. Like that's actually testing an email. Observing emails. Yeah, I guess this is sort of up to us then. And I guess we want to do both. I'm actually going to add a test in for that. I think it's just so key. Can I just lift? I'll lift this. And you're like, hey, you're testing the same thing twice. Like, I think sometimes there's things in the user path that I'm like, I want to test it 50 times as a regression test, because if someone deletes a line of code and doesn't catch it, I want everything to explode. Which would be in the spec quest users email address controller. So in here, And maybe we sort of develop a policy where this isn't the case. And again, we can use a gem or something to make that better. So we trigger this update action. We want to know that it goes to the right place. Be a one-liner. How long is that line? 84. Just drop it. That pass? Oh shit, I'm still in the commit. Can I copy this? An empty message aborts the commit, so let's do that. Abort the commit for now. Run the test again. Great. Okay, so now we're testing this in 2 places. So this is we're duplicating the test. So again, I'd be interested to see if people do stuff like this, like how often they're like actively duplicating something because it's such a critical user path between the system test and the request spec. Maybe it's totally unnecessary. Maybe people do it all the time. Be interested to hear. Right, I want to just add that to that commit then. And so then we can go back and just finish our commit message, which we can hopefully paste in. Coming across the system and request specs. Yeah. Cool. This can be committed. And if you're wondering whether I took my COVID isolation time to go back and rebase all of the commits for this app, I did not. I paired with Sam and did other fun stuff. And I watched a lot of TV. I watched a TV show called Yellow Jackets, which is really great if you are looking for TV recommendations. All right, can close that. And we can get into it. So we can now sign in. And we've got this account. Hopefully it still exists. Oh no. Oh no, does it not exist? Or did we not do that thing where you... Well, I can just sign up for a new account. Let's see if this user exists. Email has already been taken and I didn't know the password. All right, let's just sign up with another email address. Now that we can create these on the fly, it's not as much of a hassle to remember where we are. Okay, great. So we can click on our user icon thingy. Again, everything looking super ugly, and we get taken to our email address edit. And what we want to do is we want to go to users/ID/ I guess account or something like that. Like we're going to create a place where they can manage their account. That's basically what we want to do. So we did email address first, but we want to do password as well. And we want to eventually give them more functionality. So for example, if they have bought tickets or something, remember this is an event registration application. If they've registered to take part in an event, they should be able to see all of their stuff in one place. So everything there, I think, can come under... And they might have settings and things like that we want to be able to change for them. Time zone, perhaps. Stuff like that. So everything there can come under /users/for/stuff. Whatever we're doing for them. Because, as I said, we could just chuck change password on the same page. That's pretty common. You'd see, like, what's your new email address? What's your new password? Actually, I quite like having those separate as a user. And I mentioned why last week. It's because sometimes you'll have a form with 4 or 5 things. And there's a big save at the bottom, but like the change password might have an individual button halfway down. And so you're like, oh, I'm filling in this form, but I also want to change my name, my password, and my email address if you're transferring your account to someone else or something. And you're like, oh, well, I've done the password bit and hit the button in the middle, and now I've lost my other changes. So they are discrete actions, even though they're sometimes put all together in one form, which is, I think, can be a bit confusing. And it's not like the worst user experience to have to be like, I want to change my password, I want to change my email address. So let's treat them as separately. So let's do this, but for password. So let's build out a page to change the password, and then let's build a page where you can toggle between those, and maybe have like a menu on the side or something like that, which we can do with a layout. So let's do that. Let's get the password one done first. So we're going to do basically the same thing again that we did yesterday. So we can smash through this really quickly, I think. Yeah, we can do this pretty quickly. So let's do request spec, users, email address controller. And this one is another one that we sort of must get some stuff from devise, right? Because what we said last week is you don't have to do this, because you could just tell all of your users to fill in the I forgot my password box in devise, and that actually performs the same behavior. So you could say yeah, you say, hey, do you want to change your password? Just sign out, go to forgotten password, enter your email address. We'll send you a link, and that will be where we send you. Let's try and build this out. Maybe that's easier. But let's sort of build this out. I want to build out a user account area. So I don't know if I've ever. I don't know the last time I've done this for a device thing. So let's do user password controller. Again, I'm going to go singular for this one. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go singular for this one. Maybe that's a mistake, but we'll see what we end up with. Cool, so that's that. And then we can sort of lift some of this stuff. User password controller. All right, great. And let's just do, there might be like an off-the-shelf stuff here. So devise user update password. Oh, okay, right, okay, yeah. So there's device controllers, which I totally remember. First, leverage the device for your profile updates. Customize the view and remove the password or password confirmation fields. Devise ignores these if they are not present in the put. So what happens in our... So this is users, password, new. That is devise handling that. And users confirmation new. Okay, so we just do, but this is saying change those, but I'm saying we just want another one. If you don't want to require the current password to make profile changes, read this, not recommended, not secure. Okay. Second, create your own controller to manage the passwords. Okay, so I think we're doing this step. So do we need to do this step? Customize the view and remove the password and password confirmation fields for the devise registrations controller. Just check this question because I think this is answering. trying to do two things. Change the default edit user form provided with device to remove password. Are we using that? Like, did we have it and are just not using it? I think when I installed devise, I just said, hey, let's chuck everything in. So let's go and take a look at our defaults here. Use devise. Oh, okay. Cool. So this sort of, so this is an example of what we were talking about earlier. This is one of those edit user pages where everything is on here. So you can edit your email, you can edit your password, and do it all as one. Okay, fine. You can cancel your account. And this is presumably live. Yeah, I like don't want that. I want to turn that off. So that's me getting stung by me installing everything previously. So what's the path for that? Rails info roots. So I think the device stuff is all up here. So we edit user password path. Edit user registration path. So it's just users / nope. It doesn't specify which users. Users edit it when I'm signed in. Oh, okay, shit. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And what does cancel my account do? Just go to full delete? Just to destroy action that. Okay, great. I want to get rid of this. So, but I also want to block that path off because I want to customize all of this. How do I turn that one off? Did we put controllers? No, so we haven't overridden any of the Rails devise disable controller. So this goes back to what I say every week on the stream, which is like the lack of like planning everything out in advance and like diligence on the stream can sting you really badly. So as you're doing stuff, like we would have had a conversation during planning around like what we wanted to include and not include, and so this is where you just get stung. Disabling login. So that's like the core functionality. I just want to remove a specific route. Register. No, I want all that. I just want. Okay, so this is saying don't do this, but it's from 2011. Because we could just override that controller. And just change the. Sorry, I'm just reading this as I go. The device scope obviously does stuff we can override. Okay, we've got a bunch of different options here. I'm not really sure. I wouldn't mind a more up-to-date one. And we could just override registration altogether and just do that ourselves. Well, let me lose a bunch of stuff we get for free. So what is so as user do? So as is just a device scope sets the device scope to be used in the controller. If you have a custom root, you are required to call this method, also aliased as, in order to specify which controller. So as user do. Device scope user do slash blah goes to blah. Interesting. Okay, let's circle back to that. Let's do our own, then circle back to blocking off this one because we don't want users edit, I don't think. So what they're saying is I think we could override the entire registrations controller, device registrations controller. So was that plural or singular? Singular. Can we then do just do the get, I suppose. Redirect to? Can't remember. See if that does anything. It does not. All right, let's circle back to that because I'm not actually sure whether that's something we need to worry about for now. Let's build our own out and go from there. We're going to do all the same stuff we did here without bothering to do our diligence on like testing for non-signed in users. We know we've got that on our list for hopefully for today. So get user. Edit user password path user. So this should just let us view a page called edit. Let's get a failing test running. That's weird. How am I getting a redirect failure rather than a this controller doesn't exist failure? Oh, edit user password pass is already taken, right? Is that the issue I'm about to bump into that I've just named it? Edit user right, okay, so it's already taken by device. And that goes to /user/password/edit. Is that the same one as when you've lost your password? So if you go to here, /password/new. Okay, so what's edit? Sign in, and here users password edit. Oh no, it actually needs a user. Or password edit. Edit user password. User's password edit. I thought that's what I entered on the other one. User's password edit. Oh, but I just have to be signed in. Users password edit. Oh, and is that now kicking in? The change I made on. No, I commented that out. What? What's redirecting me there then? Users password edit. Device password controller edit. Redirected to home. Require no authentication. Filter chain halted as require no authentication. Require no authentication. Don't know what that does within device. I'm guessing that's a method on the device controller. So I've got a couple quick options. I can rename the controller I'm using to not clash with the naming in device, and then come back and turn that stuff off separately. Or I can sort of get into it, and we could look to do this in the users registrations path. I think I want a custom experience here. I think I'm already bumping into I'm going to try and use device under the hood, but not use them their behave for the full end-to-end behavior. So I think I'm up for maybe just changing the controller name here. So the good thing about this is we bumped into this during like just writing the test. So all that's happened here is I've written the test and I didn't get the failure I expected. So I've been able to drag all of that discovery and thinking up front from a failing test. Like I haven't got a controller. I haven't written anything else. So that's good. So that's a good. So here we could say like you could change the wording here to be like, rather than treating the password as the resource and you're editing it, you could say that we are doing a user change password or something like that, and treat that as the create action of a new resource, and the resource is the change in the password, because presumably they still have to confirm stuff. That's not how we've done the email address one, because email address could be like email address change controller, and you could use a create action to say, well, we're creating a change. They haven't actually changed it because they have to do the confirmation step afterwards. Or this could be like password reset or password update or something like that. I'm just going to check something to see. Just done this in a couple of different apps with Devise in the past. I'm just looking to see if that's like a... Yeah, I think I'm happy to do this. Let's do a name then. Password. You're not resetting the password, are you? You're just changing it. Or we could just change the... Let's add this, because maybe this isn't the same. So this would be users... Password controller. Maybe this is user password, which is maybe worse. So we've only got edit for now. Okay, so let's go look at our routes. Sorry, this is like as usual on the stream. It's pretty kind of circuitous. We're going around in circles, but this is fine. Like we haven't planned any of this stuff out in advance, so it feels fine to just bump into it as we go. So now somewhere down here. So this is now users edit user email address path. So this is presumably missing its name, as that name has already been taken. I would guess, because this would be edit user password path. And that's already gone up here. So does that change? Yeah, so that's less good. Devise routes, remove. So I'm going back to where I said we wouldn't go down this rabbit hole and just rename it, but I'm sort of hoping there's a quick... I want to do the opposite of this. Is this the one we were in earlier? This is all from back in the day. As you can, this is the same path I was reading earlier. So, okay, let's go and take. I am actually interested enough to go take a look through here and see. Just looking through the devise source code. Shit, yeah, okay, I'd forgotten about the other stuff like unlockable and things like that. Like if we disassociate from the controllers completely, then we lose support for those things by default. Yeah, this just goes back to the typical thing of like, how much are you leaning into this third-party gem versus doing stuff yourself? Because you can either hook into that or just re-implement it yourself, like minimum length, unlockable stuff like that. And you can sort of pick and choose, but you're just losing a lot. Whereas we could also but it's not just the password, is it? Because the one for device, sorry, I'm just sitting in silence for an hour. But the yeah, this is really interesting because I haven't done this in a really long time. But using something like devise, which is so full service, and working out when you're going to diverge from it, like it's really good that you get so much as a first run experience. But just knowing, sort of having done this in the past, where and when you want to diverge from it, is really helpful. So I'm just going to grab my drink off the floor. Give me 2 seconds. Let's go with our initial instinct and work around it, which you might really regret. Let's do this as like change password. So we should now get a new path here. I'm not sure that any of this is a good idea, but it's not. It doesn't feel very unbackoutable. So edit user change password path. So we could sort of switch this around and say that this is actually you could say it was like the update password and treat it as the new action. I don't know how much any of that matters. Let's put make that make more sense. Edit. Editing the update or editing the change. I don't think it hugely matters right now. Just gonna leave it at that. This might come back to kick us in the bum when we want to do stuff with devise later, but okay, so now we should at least get from our test failure, hey, I don't know what this is. Great, so that's the error we were expecting. That really went around the houses, but we're expecting that can potentially just become like that. The other, because it's namespaced, I think uses password controller. I mean, we could even make it match this, take that off and do that. and expect users. No, because it's gone. I see, right. So it's gone back to. We just have to have the as on there, okay? Because that ends back up as user's password, okay? But the controller doesn't need to be that, so it could be. User's password controller. What's the devise one? Devise passwords controller. I mean, it's not going to clash, so. Let's see how far we can get with this then. Cool. So let's build this controller for this action, because I think the root is correct now. Might have just changed it. Users. Passwords controller. Then we're going to use all of that password because we're doing a singular version with the wording here. We've got a set user method. And we should then have a corresponding view. God damn it, I can't type today. Great. Okay, so in here we can just put edit password page. Edit password page. Okay, cool. Oh, I changed the name of this. Fixing these tests as we go. Great. Okay, so should now be able to go to our user. He can change it. They can change their email address there, and then hopefully they can do. I've already forgotten what I put as the path. Password edit. Okay, great. So let's commit this. We've got the roots here. Then we've got the test that exists. A one line of view. And a very basic controller. Okay. We want to introduce a page as part of the user account area where a user can change their password. Devise already gives us a bunch of this functionality. However, it is amongst the update user behavior and its own set of routes. There are trade-offs we're about to potentially make by building our own version of this, i.e. Losing default compatibility with device modules, like locales, etc. However, as this functionality is pretty core and we don't yet know what we will be taking from devise, I think we're okay to deviate for now, and we can always backtrack later if needed. Cool, so let's change the password. So we can just lift what device has, I guess. And we can take a look at how they actually reading this one and how, having written that commit message, I'm now wondering how much we're about to give up on this, which we actually don't want to do. So we're kind of getting for free the fact that you pass in an existing email. What I'm wondering is like, where do they update params, update resource, update with password. Okay, so it actually checks the current password as well, which we wouldn't be getting for free. So we could, yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff here that we sort of want to be doing, because we could just presumably pass a new password in and device will handle it. But I think we want all of this extra stuff. Yeah, I've really gone down a rabbit hole, which I regret going down, really. But we could just like just post this form to this action and then override the redirect afterwards. That's not the worst idea I've ever had. So what do I mean by that? Like, we've built a controller and built an edit action for it, but we don't need to build the equivalent update action, right? We could just post the form to the actual devise one and then set the redirect behavior. I can't remember where you do that. Maybe you have to override the controller anyway and set that. Maybe you could do it like application controller and just set it there. But like it goes to, so this is registrations update. It would go to after update path for user. And this presumably has, you can just override this method, I think. This default URL to be used after updating a resource, you need to override this method in your own registrations controller. We could just override the controller and just put that one method in if we wanted to. Okay. That seems pretty viable, I guess. Oh, I really should have planned this out. We're just fumbling our way through. So, okay, what do I mean by doing any of this? In here, we're about to build a form. And so this can be form for user. And can we just then post it to the edit user registration path? That doesn't even take a user. It just knows which user signed in. And then in here, can we then steal this and this? All of this. But I don't think we want any of that. And we would want Wait, we would want the one for existing password, right? We need this. Cool. So this all posts to /user/edit. And at the moment, that will take us to, according to the devise code, sign after, what's this? Devise sign in. Password change, is that like a config? It's defaulted to true. Okay, fine. So I think that's going to be true, and therefore I think that we're going to go to the root path, which is user root path, which we don't have set. And then we're just going to go to the root path in general. Okay. So next question is, does this then work? So I think the current password is that. And then that. Let's see what happens. Routing error, okay. No root matches patch users edit. So where should they have gone? Oh, it's not edit user registration path, it's just user registration path. Amazing. So I think we've changed that page. Let's just check that's done what we want it to do. Okay, so device registrations control update authenticity token. So the user has taken a current password, the new password, and the confirmation of the new password. It's found the user, it's updated that password, and then it's redirected them back. Okay, and presumably if there had been any problems, we would have got a thing in there. So we've now got a view that we control. It goes to an action. Right, so in that case, let's add in override for the are we gonna put in here that any of them specifically override the device controller? Like, how do you name them by default when you want to devise override registrations controller? Is there any docs? Just didn't even spell any of that. Registrations controller. Controllers registrations controller users registration controller. Yeah, I think we can put them in users registrations control. I think users makes registrations controller. Again, maybe I'm way off here. So here we have this thing when I want it to inherit from this thing. And this is users registrations controller. And I need to, yeah, I need to tell. It's all out of date syntax, but I think this is all still good. Devise docs Rails. Configuring controllers. Yeah, I'm just checking that. If you specify users as the scope, users session controller look like that. User session controller. Oh, you can actually generate your own. Okay, so I've just written that out. But oh yeah, look, they've even namespaced it to users as well. Oh, look at that. Okay, and so this then is what we want. So basically, for the last 45 minutes or so, I've just been sort of going around the trade-offs associated with this and just kind of thinking them through. This is fine. Registrations, users, registrations. But I think there are like a million different ways of doing this. And actually, all I really want to do here is override that one method we were looking at earlier, which is update after update path 4. And here, what we want to do is go to our page that we've just done. Or we can actually go back. Well, let's keep going with this. So let's, for the moment, let's send them there. And then where we actually want to send them is to the new user account area that we're going to build. And we can put a flash. And then we're not showing flashes yet, so they don't, like, I'm just putting that so we actually have something to test. So now if we go back into here, we'll close this. And update this again. Do we end up back here? Don't. Unless there's constant users registrations controller. Registered. Got a typo. User registrations controller. And that needs to be current user. Did I just get signed out? Oh, interesting. Did I just get signed out because... So let's give that another try. Current password, I think, is that. Already lost track. Render and/or redirect were called multiple times in this action. Please note. Wait, what? So am I not... You need to overwrite it in your own registrations controller. After update path 4. Oh, I don't need to do the redirect too. Right, I'm just defining the... I'm an idiot. Right, that's doing the redirect. This is not the right thing, so it should just be returning the path. Okay, so I'm guessing I've been signed out again. Okay. Great. Okay, so here We go to password, edit, current password, already forgotten which way around. I think that one, it's that one. Great. Okay, so now we're going back here. So there would be a flash message, or we can insert a flash message afterwards, because we can then do that. Oh, it might actually be there by default. We're just not showing them. Resource update. Set flash message for update. Yep. So there is a flash message there which we can change. Okay, cool. So that can go. We're instead overriding registrations. This can all stay, I guess. It's just crappy UI. Well, not crappy UI, but like I'm just grabbing that wording randomly. We haven't had to add anything to our controller spec because we're not. We do want to come back and add in our tests for non-signed in users, but we need to do that to all the request specs. And we're not building an update action for this. But what we do want to do is add in a system spec so that we can at least test our like happy path. So let's add that in, and then we can kind of consider this part done. So this is user, create and manage user account. I think we can update. Oh wait, what did we call that earlier? Change user password? Change password, yeah. And keep some of the same language. Change user password. That could, again, these system specs, that could easily go in, create and manage user account. It could be another one in there, so I'm not sure this is ideal. Excuse me. I think I want all of that. As a registered user, we're not testing for the. Again, we're not testing to check that unsigned in users get kicked out yet. Changing my password as a user when I sign in and I visit the change password page and I complete the change password form. Then my password is updated. And I'm redirected to change password page, which sucks because that's not a great thing and there's no flash at the moment, but like we saw at the start of the stream, we're just testing undesirable behavior, but it's the current behavior. It's just not great for the user, but we haven't built the better version. So that's fine. As long as you're testing as you go, as you implement the things, like you want it to redirect to a nice page that says, hey, great job, you got a new nice password, blah, blah, blah. But we haven't got any of that stuff. So I'm going to grab a bunch of this stuff. And again, we're going back to the idea of, we know that we can dry some of this up later, but because we're just doing it for the stream, we're not going to worry too much about being overly diligent about upfront. Lots of wasted duplication for now, but we're just sort of going to go with it. Cool, so we've got a user, we have signed them in, they have gone to what we can actually do here is if we just spin up a console for a second. That's weird, that's stopped. Hang on, we'll make that bigger for the stream in just a second. We grab a user. Can we grab out? How protected are those tokens? Because in my test, I want to know that this has changed. Can I call this directly or not? Yes. Okay. So password page. And I complete the change password form, so we should have something here that I can reuse. And I complete the change password form. And we're going to fill in a bunch of stuff. And that stuff is user current password. User password. And I think user password confirmation. Yeah. And so here we can say we want to populate this with this, because it's password we've entered. I'm just going to copy this through. I know that this is not ideal, but and then we're going to try a new password, which is going to be this, but with 2x. Oh, no, let's do updated password. And we're going to put that in there as well. Click button. Just going to leave it as update for now. Again, we can come back and do a pass on all this stuff later. We're just getting all of this built out. So, and I complete the change password form. That's what we've just done. So he fills in those forms and clicks the button. Then my password is updated. So there we want to do reload the user, and we want to kind of annoying not being able to access them. Because we wouldn't even see if there was an error, so we can just check those in the layout in just a second. How did we test this previously? Expect page to have text. It doesn't matter what this is for now. I'm just gonna, because that one needs to be the like success message that you can only have if it's worked. So for now, let's find. Cool. Okay, so let's get our new system test that we've just written, which I'm sure is riddled with typos. Oh, passed. Not a typo in sight. So if we take this out, does this fail? Just check that we can make this fail. Yeah. And if we check this out, we wouldn't see an appropriate error message because we haven't got any way to render those out at the moment. Okay, so what's in our commit so far then? We've got that form. Oh shit, did I commit that? Ugh. Okay, so let's quickly... I just stage selected. Oof. Yeah, let's just drop in and change that really quickly. So let's take that out. Open this up. Take that out for a second. And take a look at that diff. And then we just want to commit that. Remove commented root code. And then we can just drop back into here and just that back. Yep, and now we're just editing the roots as we want them. Okay, great. So this can be two, so this can go in on its own. Which is just the change, the overriding the device controller. Add user registrations controller. To over device behavior. So we've opted to use the device controller to handle password resets, but by default this redirects to the home page or a specifically named route. Like I think if you have a user home path, it will go there. We want to send the user back to our new account area eventually. For now, we're turning them to the change password page. Where would the docs that we were following for device? Yeah. This commit introduces a new controller that overrides the device registration controller as described in their docs. We want to send the user back to our new account area eventually, but now we'll return to the change pathways page as the new area isn't built yet. What would that do for that? And let's keep going. We've got one more commit to do. Add form to change password. Don't think we need that. This form. This form posted the device registrations update controller, as this comes with a range of handy functionality that we want to leverage, i.e. checking the current password, clearing passwords, etc. The system test we're running here is only run a test with all the tests in. The system test we're adding here is only testing the happy path. Time constraints while streaming. Just trying to tell myself why I didn't do something in the future, as well as why I did do the things that I did. I generally find that as useful. Cool. Okay, so we have got a failing test, but it looks like it's from recently when we changed behavior here, where rather than their email address, we I do want to do that because it's really helpful. I'm just looking to fix the test suite so it will fully passes before we move on. my god, the rebase on this is going to be just wild. I think we're now up to 4 bajillion commits. This allows us to use the failures. Spec. It's really helpful. In rerunning the only those tests that have failed in the last run. So hopefully now I can do that. But it'll run everything because that file wasn't there previously. Yeah, okay. So we can have to run this whole thing. But they'll all pass now because I've just updated that test, I think. Oh, did I not? Oh, there we go. Okay, great. So we can add that to the git ignore. And then we're just going to fix up. Sorry, I'm doing about 15 things in a row just to try and really narrating them very well, just to try and get this moving. So I want to spec here's file to git ignore. That can go in the previous commit. So I've just added fix up to the start of that message because it's related to the same change, which is like I want to tell RSpec to keep a track of things that have failed, so I can run -- only - failures. And then in here, we had a failing test, which we hadn't updated. So this one also needs to be fixed up. That can get staged. I just want to commit this, which is I want to update test for navbar component. Looks like we updated the component behavior, but not the test. Cool, so now we have a fully passing test suite and we are committed up to date with a very work in progress branch. Okay, great. So we can now change a user's password and we can change the user's email address, but we want to still have like a page we can go to where we have like a menu where we can select those things. I think what we want to do is potentially use another layout, I think. We've done this previously. With the default. So I think maybe we want... Do we want this, or do we want to just wrap all of those in a component? Yeah, maybe this is a... Maybe this isn't something we need. We can just, on each of those pages, just import those components. But I think we always want them to be the same. I'm going to look at how I've done this somewhere else. I remember doing it. It's just on the other screen, so bear with me. Let's see if they... so views... Be like account or users or something like that. Users... Accounts show... Okay, so I think this one is using the layout. Okay, so let me just go and check that. Sorry, I'm doing this on another screen, so don't panic that you're not seeing anything if you're watching this along. So this would be in... Yep, this one called users. Okay, so let's take a look at this then. And I don't think we want to end up with a million of these. Like, these are not replacements for components, but like if you want to do something fundamental. And I think what I'm thinking of is like that persistent left-hand navigation that you want to exist everywhere and not have to check that every page includes that component, because you could do that. You could like write a test that did it or something like that. But I'm not sure that trade-off's worth it. So let's take a look here. This could be... Just comment this out and just be like, I am the user menu, and then it can update everything. That's all it needs to do. I'll kind of render everything, and then inside the controllers, we can then have... Let's see if this is how I did this in the other place as well. Yeah, you could do it. You can either do it individually. I've done it individually in the other places, but I think here it's probably worth doing some stuff, because I think we're like set user can come out to here as well. So this could be... this, and then here we want to do that, and then this, and this. I think we want to inherit from here, and I'm not sure about that one because we're not using any of the views from that yet. Maybe we, maybe we're using like new registration and stuff. So yes, we don't want to do that yet. So what that should do is when we then refresh this, users base controller, users controllers, app controllers users, base controller. I didn't save it. Okay, great. So what we've got up here is like user menu. So what we can then do is just change that layout to So because we haven't done any front end stuff, we don't really have. I'm just gonna do this here. We don't have Tailwind on here, like we've said. So like that would sort of be this, but like this could be. Anything else could live in here. Yeah, because that's just the page content, isn't it? Because you've still got layouts application for like your header and footer and stuff. So I on the user menu, and then this could be style. Nope. Display. Flex. Oh, and then you would want it to be like, well, you could do what you want there, but like column rows for mobile, presumably, and then column for sort of doesn't matter really, does it? Yeah, so here this will break on mobile layouts really poorly, but you figure it out, and you could even build that as a component and wrap it and blah blah blah, like that's fine. So but what we want here is, instead of I am the user menu, we want to link to change password, and then the other one we want to be change email, like the email, and then we just want to get the paths for these, which I've already forgotten again. They're right next to each other. So one is edit user change password path. I don't know if we need the user. I don't know if it'll infer it. Email address. Let's see what that does. Does it infer it? It does. Great. Okay, so in here we can then say that these are separate as well. Again, I'm not doing any styling or like they're not unordered lists or navs or anything like that. I'm just chucking it on the screen. And none of this is good, but it exists, and that's really what we're aiming for here. So you can update the email and update their password all in one place. And so we could then have another one that was like update details, and that had their first name and last name and avatar and all of that fun stuff. Then they can go here to do their password, here to do their email address. And what we are missing from that is, why don't we then have the... Oh, so this then render default. I'll do that. Oh, interesting. So do I just still want that? And that. So this goes on to like which ones. Here we go. Cool. So that's got that there. Like, do we put the header and footer there? Do we put them in the, like, is there a footer layout, etc., etc.? Okay, cool. So this works. Update email, update password. And then if we click here, it goes to email, but you can just jump straight to password. So now at least we can navigate around, which is pretty cool. And if our user is an admin, we need to put a link to this in their switcher, don't we? So how does that work? Let's commit this very rough code here. What have we got here? This, this. All very rough. Don't think it breaks any of the tests though. Let's just check that. Shouldn't break anything because we've just changed some layout stuff. Great. Okay. So, we're just building up such a massive amount of work to kind of come back and work out how we actually want to lay these things out and everything. I think this might have to be the last stream where we just chuck stuff in and not think about it. Those design ones have just kept putting off. It's because on a Sunday morning, I just want to sort of like do some mindless Railsy coding stuff. I don't really want to have to think about design things. And that's not true. I do, but like this is sort of easier. So here we want to introduce users layout. We want to create a consistent experience within the user account area. We may be able to do that in the future just using view components. For now, we're going to introduce a new layout and use the pattern of introducing a base controller for this namespace that uses the layout and requiring all user controllers to inherit from it. We're not doing that with the registrations controller, as we don't want to break the device views and layouts. Okay, loads of fun stuff in there. So let's go and fix this for admins as well then. So when I am an admin, interesting. So when I'm an admin, this goes back to what we discussed around the different nav bars. At the moment, we have a nav bar, this site nav bar for everybody, and then there's a different one when you go into the admin area. And so, as we discussed, we could do loads of options here. We could use one global one, and when you pass in, when you render the page, you pass in everything you need. We haven't done that here, but what it does mean is that, I guess it doesn't really matter, because if we go to, I need to be an admin, don't I? Can I just make this user an admin? Not actually sure what user I am. Yeah, so I'm this. And then we can do user. Oh, well, we could just do organization membership. Create. That's what we're using to represent this, and then organization can be organization.last. Cool. So now. And now I need to know what organizations.last slug is. Organization.last.slug. Other org. Okay, great. So this should now be admin/other org/events. Not even close. /admin. Oh, it has to be an exact match. Oh, it's organization slug. I've got it the wrong way around. It's other org/admin. Great. Okay. Yep. So here. Oh, that should only appear really if I've got more than one organization, but we can figure that out later. So here I can't change my password, right? I sort of need a link here back to my normal user account, but I don't have that. I don't know if this is such a pain in the ass. Like, this feels fine for now. We'll come back because this is just, that's a design decision. At some point you need to be like, right, whenever you have an organization membership, you're going to see this in the top right. So actually one nav bar will work for everybody, but this is these links change or something like that. And then when you are the same user, but just logged in the homepage, you can change your password and update your email in here. Okay, cool. So we've got some functionality. And then obviously the same user can go through and go to an event, buy a ticket for an event, enter their name and email address. They can confirm their order and they can create an order for that. So let's just say test at example.com. And so there should now be an order, yep, for this event. There should be an attendee for this event, yep. And we can still edit the event. Okay, great. Right, we've really got everything there. So do we want to build out a specific page for a user account, or is just wrapping that enough and we just happen to pick one of the first ones, like changing their name? Like down the left, this could already have your tickets or your events. And they could kind of be like, it could be like user/4. Could just be like a, hey, welcome, here's everything we think you need. Here's your upcoming ticket to your event and stuff like that. Okay, that's all built out though. So we have the layout. That just feels really straightforward to do. Cool. We're at over 2 hours. I think I might wrap this up because that's super useful and everything's passing. But I think really, like, we're at the stage where we just need to like tidy everything up and put a user interface on it really. So doing that design stream, like we were just looking at this event page here. You put an image on here. Let's grab like a license-free image. We want like a crowd of people, don't we? Because we're doing an event. It's gonna be super popular. So it can be a gig. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, what? Oh, an unsplash. Oh, that's weird. All right, let's just pick this one arbitrarily. It's usually really big. I'm just going to resize it down if it's too big. Yeah, this can just be like okay, cool. So then if we upload that, did we get that working? Oh, whoa, we did. Amazing. Okay, so we could really get that looking pretty nice. All right, so next stream is going to be user interface stuff, either sketch and building it out, or I'll try and do the sketch stuff in advance and we'll just build it out. So we'll make some decisions around how we're going to do. I think I'm fairly sold on the non tailwind of it all. and I sort of get the benefits there, but I think we can keep our consistency. I think consistency has the same pitfalls either way, and some like how we're going to structure our SAS variables, and keep things consistent across the site. We need to answer those, and then build out just loads of view components, I would guess, stuff like that. Buttons and all of the usual things like that. And I know we had looked at a couple of view component libraries, but we didn't really lean into any of them. And there is actually the default one from GitHub, which is like Primer, I think it was called. So we can really get into that in a big way. Okay, so amazing. That is it. Thank you so much for everyone who has reached out. Like I said, we're going to do a pairing session with Sam in the upcoming weeks. We're going to sort out a date for that. Actually, I don't know if it'll be the normal Sunday stream or if we'll do it on a special time. Might do some promo for that and try and get some people to come along in the chat and join in, which would be pretty cool. And so keep an eye out for that, and then we'll keep an eye out for design stuff. Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll see you all next Sunday.